Hi, I'm Corey.
Hi, I'm Tess.
Welcome to A Lovely Place.
We're so glad you've joined us as we invite Jesus into the midst of our lives, learning, and laughter.
We hope this podcast can encourage your heart and make you smile today. Hi, Tess.
Hello, Corey.
How you doing, friend?
Oh, it's been a week, so I'm here, but I'm glad to be with you today. Glad to be chatting with you.
Me too. I'm glad we just lazy geniused our podcast plan today. So
Yes.
That was helpful.
That felt nice.
Yes, it was good. I was like, hey, wait a minute. We're going to go in the right order today. Lazy genius, principle number, whatever it is, number 11. I just had to look at the book again. Anyways, that's what I've been thinking of. It's called Go in the Right Order, which is talking about remembering what matters, calming the crazy, and trusting yourself. And I just was thinking, like, how did we use these principles this week to help us as we've been becoming lazy geniuses? Whoever thought that would be what we'd be becoming, right?
Right. But it's good. So this week for me was one of those weeks that in the past, I probably would have just chosen to be lazy. So Kendra talks about you either try, like you care so much that you try and try and try to genius everything, to be a genius about everything, or then you realize nothing I do is ever really going to work that well and you quit, right? So this week I think I could have just quit. But so we had an unpredictable week. So I would say that this week it helped me so I had to figure out what matters, which was connection with my kids and trying to be calm. And so calming the crazy was probably the hardest part of that, because it felt like there was not a lot of things that I had control over. So I think identifying what I did have control over was good to calm the crazy. And trusting myself, I think I had to do that by just continually reminding myself what mattered, and that's what I was doing, instead of worrying about what maybe some other expectations I had for myself this week were, So just trusting myself to let go of those expectations. So I appreciated the advice about doing it in the right order this week, because it was a rough week. What about you?
I just, when I was reviewing this, the remember what matters and calming the crazy and trusting yourself just kind of flew off the page. Like, oh, do I trust myself? Like, am I confident in the decisions I'm making that I can move forward, that I'm not just twirling around or forgetting what matters? So that was helpful to just be like, okay, this is what I need to do, and to stay focused on what matters in this moment. And I think that just was helping me, that I can do that by moment, or like a block schedule, like the morning is this and then the afternoon is this. And because it just gets too much sometimes in my brain. So it's like, okay, what matters right now? So sometimes I feel like, oh, I should be able to think about what matters in life. And it's like, well, no, what matters in this next 2-hour chunk of time is important to figure out.
Yeah.
And I can trust myself that that's how I work each step. So that has helped me just remembering what matters in the moment I'm in, which also is helpful to be in the moment I'm in.
Yeah.
So I think last episode I was talking about dinner and what mattered, or I don't know what episode it was, but maybe it was the one before. Anyways, the thoughts coming back. That mattered more about like that time at dinner time, not what was happening at dinner. So that just kept coming back to me of like, okay, I gotta have an opportunity. So I felt like there was like more of a pause in my mind this week, that I was like, okay, wait, what matters right now? And then how can I move forward? Instead of just moving forward and whatever expectations I put on myself. It's like, okay, wait, I'm remembering what matters. And there was that pause. So I think that's really helped me trust myself to be like, hey, you can pause. You can think about this for a second and then make a decision. If
That's
that makes
good.
any sense, I think.
Yeah, that does. Instead of just like barreling forward without thinking about it, you're stopping to reflect on, you know, what is my focus? What is really mattering right now? So yeah, I think that's good. I in hindsight wish I had done that a little bit more this week.
Well, it takes practice, that's for
Right?
sure. Like,
Yes.
talk to me next week. Who knows what my story will be, right? Like, oh, wait, we
Yes.
need to be kind to ourselves.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's been a
Also,
hard one this week. I feel like so we've had kids home because of COVID contact tracing or whatever this week. And man, first of all, my heart just goes out to people who have two, you know, who both parents are working and this is in
mm-hmm.
this situation because I like, oh, that's a lot. So I'm thankful for the season I'm in that I'm home with my baby, you know. Um
Yes.
and that allowed for me to not be too stressed out with my kids, you know, having different days that they were home from school. But at the same time, it just felt a little bit like anxiety inducing because it's, I don't know. I think I was just having a hard time being kind to myself this week and feeling like, you know, just thinking about all those things like, well, what, like almost trying to figure out how to do all the things while they were home from school too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that I do when they're at school, like with taking care of the house and stuff. So that was hard. And that was exactly the day that I was reading the chapter about being kind to
Oh,
myself.
good.
And I'm like, why is this so hard? And I was thinking about, I don't know if you've seen the new movie, the new Disney movie Encanto about Colombia. But there's a song in it called Surface Pressure. And
Mm-hmm.
she's just singing about basically like being strong and holding up all the burdens and the pressure of her family, but like that she feels like she's starting to crack. And I can like totally identify with that song. And so I think this week it was trying to like find the balance between, you know, still like wanting to do things to take care of our house and make sure that it's not nutso, but also giving myself time to rest and remembering what matters, which was connecting with my kids and taking the time to do that and being kind to them too, because that's
Yeah.
important. But man, it's a challenge, you know, it's a struggle. But what I did find was that being that I've been doing all of these lazy genius principles in the last month or so, that it was so much easier
Mm-hmm.
to have a day or two where it was like, I'm really not getting anything done. And it didn't make it feel like I was behind or like the
Nice.
load was too much the next day, you know, because I've been doing these things that have, you know, like putting everything in the right place or in its place, you know, like batching things, like all of those things that we've talked about. Because of doing those things, it made it easier to just go, hey, today's kind of a nothing day where we
Mm-hmm.
just hang out together and, you know, eat food. And that's about all that we get
Yeah.
done, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, I'm thankful for this book because it has helped me to establish some of those, you know, routines and have myself in a better position to have a nothing day. So
Yeah. Well, and I think it kind of changes what a nothing day actually is or whatever. And being kind to yourself, Kendra talks about valuing who you are now. And then, second, reflecting on who you're becoming. And then, three, celebrating it. Celebrate. And so, when you were talking about that, it was like, oh, how about it was be kind to yourself and celebrating. Yay, we ate food and we made it through this day that was kind of like that. What's that game on Price is Right where the ball goes through the pins and you don't know where it's going to end up? It's kind of like, okay, is this a cough? Is this COVID? Do we need a test? Like, which way is this pinball going to fall? Like,
yes.
And celebrating, yay, we ate food today and we were nice to each other and we had a home. Like, why can't that be a win day, right?
Yes.
Like, it's like versus I did 20 things today. Why is that the better day?
Right? Yeah. Why is there so much of this focus on like to-do list productivity, right? Instead of us viewing productivity or success as being the connections that we make during the day. You would usually think like if you had talked to a friend and had a friend that was having a hard day and you were able to encourage them and say like, I see you, I see that you're struggling. Like, I'm sorry you're going through this, and all of those things. If we did that to a friend, we would think, oh yeah, that was good that I was able to encourage my friend. And like, but then we don't ever do that to ourselves, or we don't view it as like something to celebrate when we can have self-compassion.
Yeah. It's like, okay, wait a minute.
But yeah. So I did appreciate what she says about being a friend to yourself, because I think that helps to check like how you're talking to yourself. You would never say to your friend like, wow, you really need to do your dishes today and you need to do all these, like,
yeah, get it going on. Like, what's the problem?
That.
Yeah.
Get together.
It's like, no, let me help you do your dishes, right? Like, that's what a friend would do. Like, or just sit and have coffee with you and not care about the dishes. Because they don't ever move away.
And let you cry if you're having a hard day. Yeah. So
exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate that that Kendra reminds us to like be a friend to ourselves. Not like the weird person that talks to yourself all the time or anything, but just like
I don't know what you're talking about.
Be friendly.
Riker keeps going, are you talking to me, Mom? And I'm like, all right. Maybe I am. Are you listening? No. Mom, are you talking to me?
Oh. That's funny.
I like to the as much as I was focusing in on the right moment or that block of time, like going in the right order, but then being kind to myself, I pulled the viewpoint out farther. And so I was looking at a bigger picture, because I don't know if I don't think I'm alone in January being like reboot, restart, eat all the vegetables,
right,
exercise everything and lose all the weight today. Like, I just feel like it was like, okay, right? But if I
fix it now.
Right. If I zoomed out and I was reflecting on who I'm becoming, then I was remembering, hey, now it's automatic in our family that I'm trying to get a vegetable every meal we have. And so then it's like, I don't even remember where I started that, but I'm just like, hey, that's like normal now. Like, okay, here we're getting the vegetables out and we're eating them. And it's not like, I have to eat vegetables. It's, oh yeah, which ones are we eating? And so I just was excited, like, whatever time frame that's happened, it's like slowly there. And now it's like, oh yeah. That's like an automatic thing that, yay, we're becoming vegetable eaters. Yes. Like, that's a good thing. Like,
well, and that's the encouraging part, is like when you do something like that and it maybe started out as really tiny decisions, like the start small, but it was sustainable enough for you to keep doing it. And so now it's just part of your family DNA or whatever, part of the way that you've patterned your life. And I think that's something to celebrate, to say like, wow, yes, that's good.
Party
I was thinking about that too this week. Yes. Like for a long time there, trying to think of daily ways of exercising was like a struggle for me, because it just felt like, well, that, I don't know if that's worth my time,
Yeah. But what's up with that?
I was reflecting that this week I only got out to walk 2 days this week. But I was like, well, hey, the fact that 2 days seems like, whoa, that wasn't enough, is something to celebrate, because
Yes.
before it would be like, I couldn't do 2 days a week. Like, that's too much to try to do.
Right.
So to celebrate those little like incremental successes that we have,
Yeah.
even though it might not be like the biggest like woohoo, but
Right.
it shows that you're moving in the right direction
Yeah.
and it's sustainable. So I think that's
that
a
was
big
in
thing.
Kendra's Start Small chapter about her yoga one pose or whatever, and she felt silly
Yes.
doing that, but then all of a sudden there she is. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. I like her advice to celebrate even the small things, even if it's not like, because I think part of my history is like, well, I automatically think, well, I'll celebrate with like some ice cream or like some special food. And then I'm like, well, this with the new way we've been
Wait a
eating
minute.
and everything,
Yeah.
that might defeat the purpose. So, but she
Zucchini
suggested,
ice cream. Oh, just kidding.
right? She suggested just texting a friend and saying like, hey, I want to celebrate this thing or whatever. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like rewarding yourself with food, because that's
Always,
obviously
yeah.
not the greatest.
But an example I do have about food. We were celebrating with Stefan's cousin, and she graduated from college. So just give a shout out to Danielle for graduating.
Yay!
Way to go, Mama! And we just got to get together and go out and celebrate. And I was like, "Hey, we're doing that, celebrating." So I just thought, how cool was that? That it was like we didn't want that moment to pass for her, especially graduating with a bachelor's degree. That's like exciting. And then
Yeah.
it's like, but I think also eating vegetables every night at dinner, that's another thing to celebrate, right?
Yes.
Like it's like consistent, one paper at a time she had to write, one carrot at a time I had to chop. Like,
Right?
so it goes back again to it's not they're both cool things, but everything can, or what am I trying to say? You can celebrate things. It's worthy of
Yeah.
acknowledgement, I guess.
Yes.
Like,
yes. It doesn't have to just be some big achievement. It can be the small steps. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
yeah.
I think, yeah, that's good.
And then I think that helps us focus on what we're doing also. Like, oh yeah,
Yes.
that was a good thing that happened, and paying attention
Yes.
again, like we were talking about before with inviting Jesus in to what we're doing. And I think he would, like you were talking about, he delights.
Yeah.
Right? Was that you? I think
Yes.
so. Yeah.
Yes.
Good
That was
word,
me.
Tess. Good word. We should link
Yeah.
that podcast. Oh wait, this is the podcast.
That was on episode 3. Yes.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, being able to celebrate those little moments helps us to be reminded to live in the season that we're in.
Mhm.
As another one of the lazy genius principles that I was thinking about, because maybe somebody who like their whole life has just eaten vegetables all the time, that might not be something that they might think about celebrating. But like, we each are in our own different journey and different
Mhm.
space. And so when we're able to look at something in our lives and say like, hey, I think that, God's asking me to, or I sense that I need to grow a little bit in this area, and you make the changes, like that's a big thing to celebrate. That's a great thing, to recognize. And then I think that helps you to want to move forward more if you
Yeah.
can call it out and kind of pat yourself on the back almost,
Yeah. Like, hey, I did that. I could do something else. That's another
Right?
small step forward, and going in
Yeah.
the right order and being kind to myself.
Yes.
They all kind of start melting together now.
Right?
Genius thoughts.
Yes.
Oh, is that called Holy Spirit thoughts? Oh,
Right? Yes. Yep. When it all meshes together, that's good.
yeah.
I also appreciate that Kendra just kind of brought her story into all of the chapters, but just to kind of talk about like why she has felt so pressured to like perform and her perfectionism and stuff. I've just appreciated her transparency, and I think that helps remind me to look at my own story of why I feel the need for, like to make sure I'm succeeding or performing or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And remember to be kind to myself, because we all have a story. We all have something, Okay, so we experienced some technical difficulties, but we're back now.
And Tess's thought was very good, and mine can lie in the ether world.
Okay, so with that word about pressure and performance and perfectionism, all the P's, I would like to read from Matthew 11:28 through 30.
Some of my favorites.
It's good. This is the New Living Translation. It says, "Then Jesus said, 'Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light.'" And that is the verse that I am taking to heart this week. And I hope that everybody else could take that verse to heart too. Be kind to yourself. His yoke is easy and his burden is light.
Yeah. And I love that there's that invitation again. Come to me. Like he wants us with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the best place to be. It's a lovely place.
It is. It's a kind place also. I like our little moments where like, what's going on? I don't know. Oh, I do know what's going on. Next week, next time, I didn't mean to say next week. Next episode, we are going to be highlighting the essentializing, putting everything in its place, minimizing, decluttering. We're going to share some other resources beside Kendra's book and share some tips and stuff that we've been doing in our own homes. And yes. I just love minimizing stuff and subtracting.
Yes. Things. I'm excited for that. I think it'll be good to share our journeys, and it's a good time of the year for people, like we're entering into that whole new year / spring cleaning kind of a thing. So it's helpful to get a fresh start on things. And to feel light instead of feeling heavy with all the burdens. So
yes.
That'll be a good one.
Yes.
And where can people find us?
They can find us on Facebook and on Facebook. Oh, along with your podcast catcher. It looks like a lot of people are on Spotify. So thanks for listening. And then some Apple and a couple Google people. And what's the other one? Anchor, our host. Yes. Thanks, Anchor.
Yes.
And then what's our next book going to be, Tess?
So our next book that we will be doing, drum roll, is Don't Mom Alone. So this is such an amazing book. So we've talked about Heather MacFadyen a little bit on some of our podcasts, I think. She's how we got started listening to lots of podcasts, and so she just recently wrote a book, and it's a really good book. It kind of like Kendra's book, it has a lot of like principles, or like she talks about isolating lies and then the truth that we should look to not believe that lie. And just like Kendra's book, I think it's a book that you can read in one sitting, or not in one sitting, sorry, read all at once, or you could come back and look at some of the different things when you're feeling a certain thing, kind of like with Kendra's, I need to focus on this principle right now. With Don't Mom Alone, I think it'll be good because there are a lot of truths in it that you could say, I'm feeling this today, like I should come and remind myself of the truth. So it's a really good book. I'm excited. So
definitely geared toward moms, but even if you're not a mom, I think the principles will still hold true of our identity and we're walking through. And yes, I'm excited for the book, and I love the truth that is there like that.
Yes. And
balance
reminds
of-
us of the importance of community too. I think it does a great job of that. So,
Yes.
which is good for anybody, not just
Yes.
moms.
We need each other.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, friend.
Thank you, friend.
And we will
See you on
see
Facebook.
each other next time, right? And talk to
Yeah.
everybody on Facebook.
And post your celebrations.
Yes.
Party
that's a
hats
good
or
idea.
not. I think that would be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.